Welcome back to the cabin. Not been in here working on any model railways for as long as I can remember. That's going back a few years now since Thornley was in here and moved over to James's shop before we sold it. And obviously railway laser lines has been the dominant feature in my life. Building laser kits for you guys. So this is really the first opportunity, having suffered a slip disc and recovered from that after the last 7 or 8 months. I thought it was about time that we made a start on Blyth. Blyth Cambois, as they say. It's spelt Cambois, but it's pronounced Cambois apparently. And this is the first of the baseboards that I've made. It's huge, absolutely massive. In fact, I had to use 2 sheets because it's far bigger than our laser machine can cut. So it measures 12-15mm by 12-15mm. This is what I do for a living, helping James at the shop at DCC Train Automation on Thursdays and Fridays. We cut baseboards, helixes, etc. So if you're after a decent baseboard, shout us out, and I'll put a link down in the description below if you want a baseboard. We do a number of universal baseboard sizes, but we can do bespoke ones, obviously like this one. And on this baseboard you'll see underneath the legs that there are 2 long holes. The first one is the small inspection pit. The second one is the massive long inspection pit, which is actually 1 meter long. It's going to be huge, and hopefully I'll get around to making that next week. I've cut the legs as well. They're 1 meter high, so this will be off the ground by 1 meter. And I've made the edges of the board longer, or should I say deeper, than our standard baseboards. So our standard baseboards are 100mm. I've made this 150mm purely because of the size of this beast. There are 3 supports going across purely to support the inspection pit as well. So when we input the inspection pit in there, it will be held on by the baseboard as well, because obviously it's going to be a fairly long inspection pit. And if you've got 2 locos on top, that's a fair bit of weight. You want some kind of protection that your inspection pit's not going to fall out. So there are 3 supports that go underneath, and obviously it has legs, and these are slightly amended to the ones we make at DCC Train Automation. Excuse me. Is again because of the size of the board, I've made these slightly wider, and I've got to glue those together. That's what my job will be today. And also I've got to glue the baseboard. So hopefully I've just put it in just to show you, and just taped it up the side how big this thing is. As you can see, it takes up, there's the cabin end there, cabin end there. It's 12 foot, and this is obviously 4 foot, so I could near enough get 3 of these in, but I think for now my main focus will be on building Blyth Depot. The design has been done. I've got to do a few more bits to it, but hopefully over the coming weeks we'll start to see some progress on Blyth Depot. It's just really something to start my gauge layout. I don't think we'll ever get to the stage of doing all 8 boards. I think that's quite optimistic, but if we can get 3 or 4 boards done and a decent depot layout for display, then that will suit me fine. So the job for me to do today is to make up the legs and glue them all together and screw them. Glue and screw the baseboards. I have countersunk some of the holes, so I had to go and get a new countersinker today. Some more Gorilla Glue, because I don't trust the one I've got. I've had that for months and months, so brand new pot of glue. So we'll crack on and do this, and then hopefully at some stage I'll come back and show you once it's on its legs and 1 meter up in the air, that I can actually work on a little bit better. So anyway, we're underway. That's the main thing. So there you go, there's the board, and we'll come back to you when hopefully it's 1 meter higher. So that's the board made up. It's all glued and screwed. You've got the corner pockets for the legs, they're all in, so they'll be able to bolt in. Obviously you can see the join, but I'll most probably end up putting a support piece going all the way up. I've even put some trunking in ready for any wiring. I'm going to try and keep it as neat as possible. So that's all done. So I'm going to lift it up, put it on its legs, and then we'll have a baseboard done. Still debating whether to paint underneath there. Don't know yet, we'll have a wait and see, but that's done. Come back when it's on its legs. So Saturday evening now, we've had a good productive day. The baseboard's built, it's all screwed, glued and dried now. We've made the legs. I've added some adjustable feet to the bottoms as well, because I'd imagine this would be slightly out of line perhaps, but we can adjust it. And then obviously where I've screwed and glued, I've gone and added some wood filler, just gone over it, and obviously it needs to be sanded down, but this is the second coat on all the ones. I've gone protruded slightly above, so I'll give it a good sand down tomorrow, and that'll give a good surface, and then we'll have no screws visible, although most probably will end up covering the baseboard, because where the depot build literally finishes with that join line, comes around here, down the end, round, down, across and up, and obviously that will be on another base, which would be a 3mm base, and then it'll have some other levels to go to rail height, so we'll have a slightly protruding building, but once we add some either underlay or cork, it'll bring it up to the correct level, and then we can add track and wire that through, but that's later on in time. So we'll call it a day for today. We'll come back tomorrow morning, sand it all down, might even think about painting the legs. Don't know yet, we'll see how we go, but anyway, that's it for today. We'll come back and continue tomorrow. Right, so it's the next day and we've wood filled all the screws, so you can't see any of those now, and that's all been sanded down, and I've also done the same with the legs, sanded down the wood filler. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to give this a coat of paint. I'm going to protect it, don't need to, but as this is going to be hopefully one day an exhibition layout, and obviously it's in the cabin, and the cabin suffers from different climates. In the winter it's freezing cold, in the summer it's boiling hot, so any kind of wood tends to not like different temperatures. So I'm going to give it a protection with some paint, give it a couple of coats. We've done the one at DCC Train Automation, the exhibition out in black, and it looks really good, and it's quite hard wearing, so I've bought some of that paint. So this afternoon we'll give this all a couple of coats of paint, let it dry, and that will most probably be as far as we can go until we start building the inspection pits, which most probably be the next job, hopefully. So that's that done. So we'll give it a couple of coats of paint and we'll show you when that's finished. Right, so the baseboard and legs have had a couple of coats, happy with that, and that's drying. Haven't painted underneath for obvious reasons. So hopefully next week we'll get around to making the inspection pits. The design is all done. The far one is near enough the same as the one that's in Peterborough, the length, so I can utilize that one, but this one obviously being a metre long, brand new design, so I have designed that, so we'll get that cut hopefully maybe during the week. Busy week ahead, especially with James still away in India. Anyway, so we've got baseboard number 1 up. That's the main thing. We can concentrate on this one. It's unlikely we'll see the baseboards either side for some time, but at least we can keep going and start the build of the shed. I'm still tweaking the design of the shed for the roof supports and how they all work around the brickwork. Blyth's got some cladding around the outside, so I've got to work out how I can do that because it's not corrugated. If it was corrugated I could do that quite easily, but it's a slightly different design, so hopefully we can work some magic and get it to look very, very similar. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. We're up and running with Blyth, and hopefully we'll be back with another videos very soon with the inspection pits. We'll see you again soon. Thanks. Cheers. Bye bye.